and they just walk on in. And that was the game between Millenium and Vitality.
Yeah.
And that was right after the French Nationals that both teams had lost to
that was
now Penta.
Well, Lion, of course, going out first. No one's surprised. He's either first or second most of the time. So Millennium shutting that down right away. It would be funny here to see Supremacy just ban Fuse,
okay.
but not going to happen. That would be a bit of a...
All right. Well, at least no hard breacher ban.
Yep. So there will be still those. So probably not going to go with the Fuse thing. That was more of a strategy for the no hard breachers.
I mean, actually, you say that, but Millennium have actually employed that strategy a few times, not just when there's no hard breachers.
Because it was successful.
Yeah, but they ran it quite a few times, especially in the French league.
Yeah. Not
a lot of coaches or teams watch it, but I highly recommend people watch this because Six Cup is coming up very, very soon at Paris Games Week. So obviously there's 2 French nationals during the year. The Six Cup is very, very important. It's coming up very soon. So I highly recommend. They already announced the French talent for there, so you're going to have the same squad as Paris Major, but maybe you can get something done on our end in English. That aside.
So, Millennium give themselves the advantage on defense start by not banning Mira, because the Clash was taken out by Supremacy, so they did ban one shield. But by doing that, they set themselves up in a position where defensive advantage in theory goes to Millennium now, so these first 5 rounds, potentially to get a chance to get a leg up. But as you mentioned, still hard breachers are available, which does help. They're only going to go with Thermite unless they 6-pick to another one. But of course, the Mira is going to get played at 4 Armory Lockers. No one is surprised at that, I imagine. Oh, there we go. Liven, though, sneaking in a 6-pick. I mean, honestly, I would think it would make more sense to have Rise just get off dock and play the Valkyrie and still keep the Maestro. But either way, he's a very good dock. So I guess that's not a big deal either way. But it does help to have both the Evil Eyes and the Black Eyes, as well as the Firepower, both of them, and the C4 of Valkyrie. So, you know, either way, because I mean, utility-wise, Doc brings far, far less than those 2 operators do.
Oh, that Maestro, 100%.
Well, the Maestro or Valkyrie, because Valkyrie has the cameras and the C4. So, again, that's why I think that it would have been better to have the 2 of them rather than the Doc. But hopefully Rise will show up anyways with his ACOG plays. We could see him even with a Spawn Peak, potentially.
At least with Mira being available here, I am excited to see how Renshiro plays this, because he's going to start off by reinforcing half the wall.
Yeah.
That's not something you usually see.
I feel like if you're gonna play Doc, pick him as a 6-pick, so they don't know if you're gonna spawn peek or not. Because the most common spawn peeks are gonna be with Doc at the moment, and you want to keep that as a surprise. Now, I'm not saying he's going to, but I'm just saying like so they don't see it coming. Because if you see a Doc, you got to be much more careful when you approach.
You know how much I miss this? Having standard Mira setups on border. Oh my god! But the wall is not reinforced on the side. So thank you very much for highlighting it, Marcio. They'll only have a half wall. They should be opening the side. There's multiple ways of obviously playing the Mira window. You can play it in Fountain. You can play it.
Oh,
there's. You can just get
did I call that or did I call that?
Did you? You did call that.
Absolutely. And that is why you don't telegraph it, but it doesn't matter because unfortunately K6 does not see the Doc and think, hey, I should approach more carefully.
One thing I want to see is in the break room if they did reinforce the wall into the hallway, and no, it is soft.
I mean, they only have so many reinforcements, and they might have been short or just decided that wasn't a priority, but that's going to get opened right up. So, some nice angle here coming in from Sophia. Now, unfortunately, they've lost their ability to make phone calls and smoke, so they're just going to have to make this work with what they have, but they still have plenty of utility left to make this work here, so not a big deal. K6 has got to be kicking himself right now.
Zofia just holding off the angles. So far hasn't been able to find much, as Supremacy, of course, are in the back foot.
Ooh, nice.
The Mira window will get taken down, and that's why opening the hatch a bit too early there might come back to bite you. That's why quite a few teams will run. Is that a suppressor on an R4C? What sin is this? This is worse than Fox.
But I mean, this is
running red dot.
But this is the Ash player who gets Ash banned against him.
Yeah,
so
100%.
This is not like, oh, he doesn't know how to play this operator. I think it's you know, conscious decision. But Tactus, though, taking down aces. That's a good trade there. Nicely done onto the Jaeger, and Renshiro is also down to about half health, so it's not a terrible position for either team here.
I'm not sure what aces were trying to do here, moving into the hallway, but it's Renshiro to get the kill on Deju, is playing very close up here and usually a spot that you'd see maybe a Bandit or even the Jaeger playing behind the half wall, not the case here.
Honestly, I think the reason we're seeing the half wall is you can't deny that wall getting open most of the time. It's too risky to do most of the time because they can take control from below and things like that. So instead, you just set it up so you can contest it much easier.
See, the Donk has a pretty clear angle as he spotted the Blackbeard to move in. Unfortunately, K6 is out of here.
Spawn peeked out of the game.
Yeah, well, no rehost for him. Rise will go in for the kill on Tactus, eliminating one, but it's Anthrax for the refract, 3v2, but Alive's low on health. And Anthrax has not opened up the side. There's 30 seconds left, and the Doc is just putting people back on full health.
Welcome back, K6. Yeah, he's actually boosted up on health here, and the fact that they didn't open the other wall till just now left Ventura in a good position, but Alive is just going to put pressure on even with his low health.
You'll have to boost on up here and try to go for the shot against him, and there you go. Finds it behind the duffel bag. The C4 unfortunately will not connect, but Ventura already has done the damage, and Hicks will come in for the finisher, Millenium, shutting down Supremacy in the very first round very effectively.
Well, that was a good defense overall. Of course, as we said, there was huge advantage to them, not to mention they went for the spawn peak. That was just a Millennium. To be honest, I am surprised it came down to that few numbers left on Millennium with all the advantages they had. But either way, they succeed, and that's all that really matters in the end. They do not have to go to vents, something we've seen some teams struggling with these days. There are a variety of ways to defend it and attack it, but it pretty much comes down to fairly standard castle play. The mirror is probably going to be upstairs set up along with some of those castles. You're going to have people playing upstairs and then potentially rotating down. There's not too much variety to it. The attacks, on the other hand, can get a bit more creative. You can open up bathroom, try and go in from there to plant. You can come in through the B bomb site into the vents itself for a plant if you can secure that. Definitely different ways. You could even just try and drop in through a hatch if you have them distracted. We'll see that they are going to 6th pick. Not a big deal there, over to another operator that's also fairly common. So that really won't tell you too much other than they're going to be able to destroy more soft walls. And that could have been the case where he saw the castle pick and decided to 6th pick over to a soft breacher just to make sure they could take out the castle barricades, which would be a smart plan.
So here's the thing. For a lot of people watching right now, they're like, why would you play Mira when they're defending in ventilation? Well, because they want to play it from the top stairs.
Yeah, for the same reason you do it on the last bomb site.
Indeed, they're going to set it up in pretty much the very same positions. Quite possibly.
And that's the thing is, there's a lot of maps like this, but this is definitely one of the most textbook in terms of setting up your top floor, mostly the same regardless of the bomb site. The only difference is now you get the castle barricades in play, that some of them will be used upstairs depending on how you want to set up your upstairs, but the reinforcements in the mirror windows are mostly going to be the same. You do have to dedicate a fair bit more reinforcements downstairs to secure the bathroom, as well as dedicated impact nades. So there is some extra resources required, not to mention you split your manpower. So this is a bit harder of a site to defend because the fact you cannot defend it as well. And most attackers will often take from office, which is fairly effective as well. Looks like they could go for either way, put pressure on both sides, but an office take is the cleanest way to push this bomb site. Take that, you get some pressure, and maybe even downwards if you bring a buck, which they're not bringing in this case, but you could also use the Zofia to open up some of the floor as well as Ash to do so. But Ash could even go in for a downstairs attack. Now,
we've seen Ashes just running.
Absolutely, and that is, with someone like Alive, I can see that working. If you drone it well and have some idea where people are positioned, he could go in, might even die in the process, but he's actually going to have Blackbeard backing him up here. If they see a weak downstairs, that is an opportunity to take it.
Tactus is trying to do exactly that, and they have the spot on the pulse in the back.
Good timing on the phone call as well here that will offer opportunity for them to move up.
Hicks, in the meantime, has opened up a bit of a hole in the wall to use to his advantage from the bathroom, just in case Tactus would like to come in, and he'll be greeted with a hail of bullets.
I like the distractions going on with all the different attackers here. I don't think they're going to necessarily see us coming. They know there's pressure downstairs, but they don't know how many are, well, I would say that, but the Pulse may have actually been able to identify that. Hicks, though, even getting shot through the soft wall there. Aces, though, is in a nice position here to stop this Teller's push that is coming in. So it's going to be down to who anticipates it first, and it's going to be Aces. Unfortunately, that's the fuse carrier. That was the big mistake right there, is thinking they could take that without droning to peek that first. There really should have been a drone peeking that. You know he was anticipating it, but didn't anticipate with a drone. And Hicks with a nice kill through the soft wall there, turning the tables on Alive, and even getting another down. He is absolutely dominating for that bathroom, flushing this attacker right down the toilet.
And Tactus low on health at the same time. Aces, okay, I thought that was him. Oh my god. Rise has gotten that kill. That I would have been very suspicious there, but there you go. Aces still alive. He spots a Blackbird from below, but it's Livin to find the last one. Tactus will go down. Millenium, beautiful bit of play, even though Supremacy started off pretty well, taking control of the correct positions. But unfortunately, when you leave the diffuser on his own to die in the break room,
it was just, I mean, I liked what they were doing. They were setting up to try and push aggressively on the site. The one problem with it, way too slow. And they had a pulse. It was a situation where when they were going to be able to read into it, unfortunately, they just pushed it very, very slow. Even with an Ashe, pushing in that slowly like that, it was a nice attempt. But also, I appreciate Hicks getting a lot of shots through that soft wall, left in a position where they didn't really see him, but he was able to land shots on them. Might have just been due to good intel or calls by the pulse as well. Either way, though, this is what I'm interested to see. Can Millenium continue their reign of terror on bathroom tellers that they helped pioneer with Vitality? This is, I would call it the French defense.
The Maginot line.
Yeah. We'll see, though. Pretty much same attacker lineup coming out, except for Tactus going to be on the IQ.
Bathroom tellers.
Yeah. So that hatch again that we just saw last time is going to be even more important on this defense.
I don't want to overhype it to be disappointed later, but Millenium are pretty darn good at this sort of defense.
Absolutely, and it is going to come down to whether or not Supremacy have figured out ways to attack this, because we've even seen teams like G2 struggle against Millenium on this bomb site where they've actually lost their attacks on it. So it is a very effective defense. There could be variations to it now, but overall the castle is a big part of it.
When G2 loses a round against this, you're like, whoa. That's a pretty good strategy right there.
I mean, it really is. It's not like it's impossible, but it's the upstairs right there becomes this nice chunky core of the defense that if you cannot dethrone it, it's very difficult to plant unless you can just happen to get an opportune moment where they're not looking because they're distracted by something else.
The problem is here, if you're on the attack for Supremacy, is that this complication is compounded by the fact that there's a mirror.
He is playing the silencer.
Which makes things very complicated.
That's true. I don't think we've seen this defense for the most part with Mira.
Well, in the past, yes, but not anytime recently. Because Mira's always been a ban, especially in Europe and especially on this map.
Well, Alive is going to try and push to take some early map control, droning for himself here. This would be a lot more efficient if someone was droning him in. There'd be a situation where he could get a lot more progress a lot quicker because slow pushes was a problem with them last round. But at least he's being careful and not overly aggressive in face checking it. Same with K6 here, who thankfully didn't get spawn peeked this round. They are slowly making progress here, getting some top-down control. But again, they have to take control of that one room. So basically it's just try and surround Millenium as best as possible. Then the push gets tricky because they have those castle barricades to slow that down. You have to start using some soft breachers. They do have 2 soft breachers to be able to help with that. It would help to also have Havana as well instead of Thermite in case you lose the soft breachers. But they at least have this castle barricade open now. It's going to be down to crossfires a lot of the times to win these, or whoever just peeks correctly.
Oh!
Hicks is the one. Hicks has been on a roll today.
That's your only hard breacher now down, and now the Zofia out of play. 3 players alive for Supremacy, but for how long, Devin?
About 30 seconds.
Well, let's count him down. Rise is ready for him here as Livin is ready for a pistol play as well. ADS will get burned as an extra bit is...
Wow, that angle.
The damage has been done to Alive there, but he'll be able to get the kill on Aces. Rise is still in and trying to slow things down as Alive just jumps in and gets the second one. There's 10 seconds left in your call out here, but Livin will find the headshot on Tactus and take him out. Renshiro still alive from below. So 3v2, and I wonder if there's a C4 left on the Mira. No, there is not. Already used Nitro Cell, and he finds the shot. There you go, Alive. No longer with us in this world. K6 last man in. He's at 75. Too complicated to control.
To be fair, they took the room finally. Just cost them most of the team.
Oh, he gets the spot a bit too little too late. Renshiro threads the needle.
Well, unfortunately, they lived about 30 seconds longer than I anticipated.
No, it was like more like 10,
something
15.
Like that,
yeah. You weren't too far. I applaud you.
They were pretty far off on that attack. Unfortunately, good play by Alive, though. He did manage to play that very aggressively, even getting smoked and still managed to play it and pistol kill. Unfortunately for him and the rest of the team, it was not nearly enough. They did manage to take the room, but at the cost of 4 of the attackers to do so. A lot of angle play by Millenium. You saw them fighting all kinds of different tight little angles, including that shot by Hicks as well from below all the way up to the window. Just control seemingly coming out from Millenium in terms of anticipating approaches time and time again, and, well, helping control where those approaches come from. Fortunately for Supremacy, they don't seem to be getting a lot of surprise on Millenium as they go right back up to lockers. So far, looking very good for Millenium to continue their streak here. See if they go for a similar defensive strategy where they set up the half wall, half soft, half with the window and reinforced. Because, well, it worked pretty well last time. It just was difficult for them to really deal with because it is very hard to just have a thermite walk on up and set it on the wall because they'll just pop out and shoot you.
They're just going to put, is that a reinforced? Yeah, okay. But they're going to put the mirror window on it. This is odd. It has worked, but it means this is in response to Renshiro's aggressive play on the mirror like we saw before, where he's playing close to the reinforced wall.
Well, that's what I'm saying is when you put it like that, they cannot thermite it as easily. On the other position, they can try and approach it.
The problem, just like Marcio highlighted, is that it's very easy to deal with from below. Now, it's very important to take control of CCTV. That's why you see the second mirror window peering through there all the way into the hall and into Fountain. This is an old style of running the second mirror window through the hallway in Fountain, but it works. And it works effectively, especially when you're running the mirror window on the armory wall to look outside, but that's alive to get the first one, and that's no more goo mines.
Yeah, a Legion kill early is always a good early kill, as it is one of the few operators that actually gains strength in a way over the round, whereas I can't think of another one that does, so good on him. With a nice early, I mean, sort of, I guess it depends on how you interpret that. But that was a nice start there. Rise also holding a nice crossfire. They can't seem to progress past this because it's a two-man CCTV hold, but alive. Playing this angle they didn't necessarily anticipate takes Rise down to very low health. Fortunately for him, can't find the kill. So he's going to smartly peel off and start to take progress on that mirror that you were talking about. Is easy to take out. But Renshiro, anticipating it, tries to fire down and actually takes a lot of damage.
Bijou's in the meantime taking down Rise. So that's the finisher on the Jaeger. You mentioned Renshiro low on health. Well, he's got to be very careful of what he does. Ace is being pushed aside by so many of these flashbangs. He's still somehow alive behind the mirror window. He can run down whenever needed, but he'll have to deal with K6. Just locking it down here. Hicks moving in. Will he be able to blindside alive? Yes, he will. SMG-11 to win it out. Aces can't find the shot, but the calls are coming in from the Dokkaebi. K6 trying to make their lives a bit more complicated here, Millenium.
Well, they did at least get the kill onto Alive, who was, again, the spearhead that was doing a lot of damage, not necessarily always getting kills, but softening it up quite a bit, giving the opportunity for the rest of Supremacy to get those kills. But there's still 3 people left here with smokes and potentially C4s. Could even be on both of them. Nope, looks like the Bandit does not have C4s. It was Barb, but Renshiro may still have his as well.
They're fairly afraid here of pushing Ace's Supremacy. They're not sure of how he's set up. And I don't know if they have the drones to get the info, but there you go, finally taking him out. Anthrax will find it. But it's a 4v2.
A lot of smokes have been used up as well, so they don't have a lot of delay tactics left. They do have that C4 still in 1 smoke.
And it's smart from Supremacy seeing this. It's like, okay, you're going to put most of your equipment upstairs. We're just going to go the other way around. Dejus to get the kill on Renshiro. Hicks last alive at 40 health.
Bomb has been located.
This diffuser should get lobbed in here. Hicks will get a couple shots down, but can't get the finisher. Walking down into the hallway, not sure where his opponents are. He's fearing the mirror window to be used against him, but he walks through the barbed wire, and this should be more than enough information for his opponents. They're all stacked up on the staircase here. At least the Capitao and Ash, shotgun in hand. He can't hit it, pulls out the SMG-11, but it's the Jews and the Zofia to finish him off, and that's Millenium to go down in this round.
Unfortunately for Millenium, a lot of the problem was there was way too many angles to fight, both vertical and horizontal. There was a lot of walls open, there was a lot of floor that got open, a lot of fights that came down through it, the metal bars, of course, working against Renshiro. And it was just a situation where they did not control those players in those different positions, and a lot of those holes ended up backfiring. It was a good shot, though, onto Alive on the top of the stairs. That one did work out for them. But you saw, for example, Hicks there at the end, so many angles to fight because of how much they had open. Sure, that works in your favor when you have a lot of players left alive, when they were able to actually keep control of CCTV. Aces, though, once he fell after the Jaeger, just left him in a tough spot. I appreciate what they were trying to do, but unfortunately just some of those early softening up and potential kills from Alive put them in a back position where they couldn't really stay as aggressive on those angles as they would have liked. But they're going to try lockers for their last defense again. So I think they're going to be able to play it a little bit better this time. We're going to have a similar, well, the exact same lineup for attack again. They're just going to have to anticipate Alive peeking them early. I mean, he'd get the one early kill, and he has been playing fairly well, playing fairly confident on his pushes in terms of being able to make peeks and get some early damage. So we'll see if they can do it. If Rinchiro can hold his mirror longer this time, if he's going to put it on that wall.
I think he's going to run the same thing.
I mean,
okay, so this is what we saw earlier on from him.
He's going to put it in the small office to be a little more protected.
He's going to go back to default.
Not that that isn't a soft floor as well. Or he might even just go set it up, one in office, one in CCTV.
Did they reinforce the back? Yes, they did. So they reinforced the back fountain. They're going to run it in fountain. And there you go.
Oh, there's the other one. Yeah. Okay. This is a little more sense.
This is standard. There's nothing out of the ordinary except for one thing. They have not reinforced the entirety of the archives wall.
Yeah, that's definitely a case where if a push comes from office, that could be a bit of a problem because, you know, soft breachers can open that up. Or is it reinforced?
See?
Oh yeah, so they're leaving it soft to actually fight it. Again, they open up a lot of holes. They just have to make sure those don't get used against them. Although in this case, that's not a terrible one because that actually is protected by that desk that Marcio was highlighting. So it does give you actually a way to play that. And I like the idea that you could even potentially crawl through that to sneak into the room. But of course, that means they could do the same. Alive playing his same approach as last time, although it looks like he could set up the drone to get ready to open up the floor below the Mira.
I really want to dig into his brains and be like, why do you run the suppressor on the R4C? You lose some of the damage. I mean,
well, unfortunately, the way things are going so far, you might not get that interview. You can ask Millenium why he's doing it. Of course, I'm saying that a little early. I mean, it's only 3-1, but. Good play.
Finds the shot on Hicks, taking down the smoke. A big pick here, and Livin has taken damage. He's down to 75%. Good shot, and they drop the mirror. Alive takes him out. And
Beautifully played.
Oh my! The Mountain Man is now out of play.
When the floor just falls out below you, and you know your life is over.
And he's like, you know what? Last time I opened the hatch, and you know they started shooting from below. This time I'm gonna keep it close.
Yeah, you kind of need the hatch reinforced if you want to play like that. But well played by Alive, not taking any damage, taking him down. Now there's 2 players fallen on Millenium. This again, looking like this is one bomb site Supremacy have been able to put some pressure on. And again, through that same window on Sandwich there, a second pick. Tactus on a roll, now Rise cut off.
Perfectly timed crossbow bolts there. As you said, Rise has been cut off from the Jaeger. We'll have to peek in, but he's spotted from the window. Try to heal himself back up as K6 will find the kill. Rise back on full health, but he's not sure of where the opponents are still. For Alive, they're just going to spread out throughout the entirety of the map here. Rise comes in, finds the shot, takes down Alive. The Ash down, but the information's been relayed now to the attacking side. That Capitao might just be the one that ends it all. There's more utilities being thrown in. Tactus will find it in the headshot.
A 3K from just one spot.
Yeah, just hold the window.
Absolutely.
Once you hold the rotation onto the site, it's done and dusted.
And he's not even a Blackbeard. Well played by Tactus and Alive, and the rest of the team for doing their job. That was a great attack. So far, 2 successful attacks onto lockers before they switch sides, so nicely done. That starts to catch them up. We'll see how they can do on their lockers defense. At least Millenium won it once. But it was good to see the momentum swing the other way. Now, Supremacy, actually, no, they're not going to play lockers. They're going to go for customs first. A big gamble when you're a point down, but I feel like they're feeling a little more confident after how well those last 2 attacks went, because they didn't just go, oh, we barely won it. They actually destroyed a fair amount of Millenium. Ace is, though, going to sneak in a Maverick here. If he sticks on it, should be interesting to see if that's going to be used very well. But I can't imagine that. There we go. They're probably thinking it's going to be lockers with Mira, though, and I got to imagine that's what the pick is for, thinking they're going to sneak in, take out those windows. But no Mira in play, and it's going to be customs.
It's not like the F2 is a bad weapon.
Oh God, no, yeah, it is a death machine. And it's one of those ones that's just like you can start on the chest, and the fire rate's so high, you're going to end up on the head very quickly.
We'll see how they play this, because this is a site that has been very complicated.
It's actually been somewhat successful lately, despite what I've been saying time and time again about it being not a successful site. So I feel like that has shifted.
When can I believe you, Emzo?
You can believe me retroactively in the past. The future is anyone's guess. I mean, I wouldn't have guessed Supremacy would have taken those last 2 rounds the way they did as well, so very good on them. I definitely, fingers crossed they can make this work just to continue to prove me wrong on customs, because I would like to see successful ones, because when you see successful defenses on a bomb site, that starts to open up the meta a bit more to more bomb sites, the way we see Bathroom Tellers now, because Millenium and Vitality showed some success on it. So personally, for me, I would love to see all bomb sites work some of the time on all maps.
What an egalitarian.
Right? Everyone just do what you want to do. We'll see who kills who.
Well, Hicks is in here on the drone, living as well, just information being gathered by Millenium to make sure they have a beat on what Supremacy are setting up for this defense. As you mentioned, they are defending downstairs, but what do you need to take hold of the bottom floor? You still need some sort of, you know, control the top floor. And otherwise, you kind of set yourself up for failure.
I think now Aces has lost both his shock drones, but at least there's no window to pop, so it's not a terrible position. Could have maybe used them on an Evil Eye potentially as well, but there's some nice trickery coming from DeJuice with the holograms, the little prismas. Kind of keeping him busy trying to find, and he's got to make sure not to drive his drone into them, but unfortunately a little too high, Renshiro.
The Alibi is taking quite a bit of damage from it though, and there you go, this connection on the smoke. That's the Havana to finish things off for Millenium. Livin will find the kill. It's a great advantage here for them.
Lower Renshiro.
Oh, there we go. There you are. Livin will get one, but he'll get shot down by Alive. 3v4 as Renshiro is still in. DeJuice finds the second one.
Did he shoot out his own hologram?
I don't need it.
That's not the real me. It's fine. Either way, though, this has definitely turned a little bit in Supremacy's favor, but at the same time...
Are we watching Latin America here?
This does feel a little Latin American-ish.
The odd thing is that in LATAM, just a bit of a tangent, we see a lot of more Twitch play, where it's not really the case in other regions, so it's good to see some of the Twitch being played here, though, the shoes.
Hicks has been the king of finding good shots today, I think.
Well, he's going to open up the side here on to Customs. Alive is still in, and even on the Jaeger is going to be running that suppressor.
He doesn't want you to know where he's killing you from.
I'm a ghost.
That's right. Well, there's no kill cams on this, just for those of you who don't know that. So you will not see where you were killed from. If there is a suppressor, there is a chance that some of the tracers will be suppressed, and you literally might not know where you died from. Yeah, unfortunately, the ADS gobbling that right up. But it is advantage Millenium right now. Time, however, is not on their side, and the ADS is slowing this down quite a bit.
Why did you... Oh, come on. Come on, Rise. Or as Marcio say, Risha is... They'll come in. Anthrax will get one Alive for their second, and it's all up to Aces now. He has the FAMAS, so definitely the firepower required for this, but he sprays all through the wall. Can't find the shot, and Anthrax takes him out. What is this round, man?
I feel like Millenium losing the last couple rounds they did in the way they did is just thrown their team into chaos. And Customs pulling out there was not something you would expect first. Really well done by Supremacy, bringing that out and succeeding on it, and now they get to go to the 2 quote-unquote better bomb sites after that. So kudos to them to not only win that, but also bringing it back to a tie now in a matchup that I really thought was going to favor Millenium. I'm impressed with a lot of the play here from Supremacy.
All right. We'll see how this works out. As Alive, is he going to stick with the Mira? I would be surprised if he doesn't switch to the Jaeger immediately. And color me surprised. Is he going to put a suppressor on the Vector as well?
Is that even an option?
I don't know. Just
that would
make it happen.
Yeah.
You know, duct tape a can on there.
That's what he'll do, is just like a little 2-liter bottle on the end of it. Well, either way, though, he is going to stick to it. No 6 picks coming out from anyone. No trickery, just straight-up gunfights and strategy here. We'll see how things go on their attempted defense and what they will do for their window setup. This thing will be a little bit different, I imagine, than we saw before. They do have the Bandit to set up on the wall if they want to try and actually defend that wall, as opposed to giving it up half the wall that we saw from Millenium. Alive, though, reinforcing that wall makes me think they're going to set up one in Fountain. Is he waiting for... There we go, yeah. Usually don't reinforce the walls all the way that far from the other room unless you're going to set up a window on it. K6 going to put his batteries on it as well, to try and make sure that office is not as easy to take. As Marcio is highlighting, that wall is not reinforced. Gives an opportunity for the Buck of Rise to open up that wall. If they want to take that approach, They do have double hard breachers as well, which makes it actually a lot more possible to take from both sides if they wanted to pinch.
Now here's the thing with that window, is that it gives you a much wider field of view, but at the same time, it exposes you when you actually want to look through it. Yeah. It exposes you too much to different angles. So I see it, but I prefer the left side to be used because it's just safer. But, you know, it can end up working for you, especially if they're bringing the shield here. You saw the Legion setting up his deployable shield, so no impacts to be played by the Jews. See how Millenium try to play against that, as definitely they have the equipment to deal with it. No ADSs, of course, for Supremacy.
Yeah, the lack of Jaeger is definitely an interesting choice here because there's a lot of throwables that could be used here. Obviously, Ryze's grenades are going to be part of that, but there's probably going to be a lot of flashes as well. Although a lot of those probably would have just been used up quick. I like that he's going for a sneaky play here. He's going to open it up just enough for the drone to go in first and lead the way. He sees the mirror window. Now he's just going to back off, but he can still make them focus on that angle because the wall is open now, although he didn't finish opening it, which I think is, I mean, that stops them from crawling out it as well, but it also makes it so you don't have the opportunity to use it, and I feel like maybe he should have finished opening that just to give additional pressure.
So you'll see Millenium walking through in the main hallway as Hicks moving in. He'll chuck in his flashes, thinking that there's an ADS. Unfortunately, there is none. Grenade's going to get lobbed in as well as he hits the goo mine here.
Confuses me why he's not going for the player in there, but Aces takes him out, so I guess that's that.
That's the G8. So Slash is back, man.
Slash is back. There is 2 slashes as well, Slash and Slash Hug, so.
There's Aces and Aces.
That's right. We like to have people with really original names.
Yeah, pro gamers in their names.
At least there's no other Mzos. They are going to start to open that wall again. Double heartbeat. Yeah, right. 2 of me would be too much to handle.
Oh, nice, he hit the headshot. Ryze, what a shot. Taking down Tactus. No tactical surprise for you. And that's now 2 down for Supremacy with Deju's low on health. Advantage fully in the hands of Millenium.
Much more confident play this time.
They can go in for the plant if need be, right behind the B site, but they're unsure if the hatch is open below them. So, you know, equipment can be thrown against them. I wonder where Alive is. You see, Anthrax is ready for the C4 throw. Will it connect? No, it will not. Livin will take half damage here as the Shoes is brought down even lower on health. Aces is looking for the angle by the metal half wall, and they got the crossfire on the mirror. They're just waiting around for her to peek, and Deju's will get one. Alive with a refrag, but it's Aces for 1. He spots the second, but Alive is ready for him on the peak. Diffuser will get set, but Ryze is holding the perfect angle. Do they know where he's at? Put the diffuser down, Renshiro. Plant it. Now, Anthrax will have to move in. There's no utility for him to use. No, Ryze turns in at the last second. They'll potato against one another. And somehow, it's Renshiro able to jump behind the wall against the Deagle with the shots whiffing right next to him. They'll know where Anthrax is coming from as they hit the angles, but oh my god, no, they will not. There you go. Renshiro peeks up, gets the final shot, and Anthrax will go down. That was
at the beginning,
close.
I was saying much better play from Millenium, but then that started getting really sloppy towards the end. I mean, not sloppy as in they were playing bad, but as in they lost control of a lot of the angles they were playing. And a lot of Supremacy were actually playing in smart positions where they were set up to C4 and things like that. Not that they succeeded with those, but they were in good spots to be able to stay secure because the angles from Millenium were just not working until, unfortunately, Supremacy peaked a little too often without really knowing what they were peaking against. That's where they needed something like an Evil Eye to be able to tell them where the positions were, pings and things like that. But it was just down to Millenium hitting a lot more of their shots. Like you mentioned, the whiffs coming out as well with the Deagle, unfortunately. Just too many misfires. Ace is going to try the Twitch again this time in a situation where it's going to potentially do more against Alive's window, unless Alive is on top of it. Last time Aces did lose both those drones early. So if Alive is on top of it, be a problem. But of course, you know, the elite skin means it's a lot harder to find it. But they did make it a little while ago, the drone's slightly louder. So, you know, if you're paying attention, you might catch it. If not, pap, pap, there goes your mirrors.
So, yeah, now Millenium are pretty sure that they should be picking the Twitch for this. We'll see how Supremacy is set up against it, because last time was not too efficient.
Pretty even kills there among Millenium.
Everybody's contributing. Whereas on Supremacy, you can see it, you know, be
just K6 needs to step up.
Well, the same setup we're going to see come out as Supremacy kind of had the whole thing. There was nothing wrong with the way that they set things up.
No, it was just down to the gunfights and angles at the end. I mean, it was also a good attack by Millenium. They managed to take control of office fairly well. We'll see, though, if there's going to be any surprises this time from the defense to try and counter what came last time. They I mean, unless they reinforced some of that office wall, I got to imagine they might open it up again, but they didn't necessarily need to try and open up that office wall because of the way the Mirror and Fountain was playing against them.
Living droning things in here. We'll take a look at the break room. Nobody in there, but he notices that the wall from the hallway is opened. So there might be some trickery being in here.
Yeah, that means you got to really be curious about Fountain. They are bringing a Jaeger this time, so that will stop them from being able to grenade. Although, again, it was odd. There's this, I feel like it's opening like a little mouse hole for the little mouse to go through. But he's going to open up a lot more of the wall this time. That's going to, again, I feel like that's important to put pressure on them, so they have to watch it.
One thing I commend Supremacy for is bringing the Jaeger in this time to have the ADSs to protect them. Last time, it kind of proved to be a terrible mistake.
It didn't end up getting the kills ultimately because, for whatever reason, Rise isn't taking advantage of trying to...
Oh!
But he does land it! K6 goes down to Juz, though, trading it under Renshiro.
It's a big frag as well there on the Zofia. This does blow up the mirror window on the side, and Rise will have the angle to look down. Ace is taking a decent chunk of damage here, and they can reset him with the amount of time left, but Rise is going to be careful to not spend too much time on his Skeleton Key.
I like the buck play coming from Rise, but Tactus turning it around a little bit, still advantage to defenders.
Big kill there, taking down the Habana, one of your two hard breachers, and they should be resetting aces. Unfortunately, there is no wall for them to shoot him.
Maybe you can try and take a little bit of damage for the breach. I think they were going for throwing something at him. He has stuns he could throw at him to reset him.
Would you, though, knowing that there's ADSs? Oh, they're watching the back, and they Rise almost getting the shot there. Still has to worry about the rotation through the wall, and Alive will land the kill. And that's Rise going down 4v2. The Ace is low on health. Millenium, I feel like they may actually lose this one.
They've lost that control. Now that that flank is open as well from Alive on the CCTV, they don't have the pressure to put on this. And without resetting aces, they don't have a lot of gunfire pressure either.
At least they take down Tactus, so this might force another member of Supremacy to come in and support his teammate, pick him back up.
Bait it at this point. Nope, they're not falling for it.
Ah, yeah, Hicks will get the one on Anthrax, so they take down one. They still have to deal with Alive that rotates back in, and of course the Juz that's sitting still on Archive. Hicks will walk in, but he's unsure of the side. He goes and gets shot in the back, tries to find the angle, but there's little time left. He's got two right in front of him. He takes down one, but Alive gets one. Aces with the clutch. Alive will go down.
How did Aces do that?
He just runs on in and gets the kill.
Wow.
The Mira was so busy with the Thermite jumping in the side.
They were running circles around each other.
Oh, my. Well, the Jaeger, what?
Millenium just barely pulling that off. Just Supremacy at the end with lack of intel on where everyone was.
One job.
Yeah.
You had the 4v2. Come on, man.
Yeah, unfortunately, a bit of misplays there. I got to give a lot of credit to Rise. I feel like he really set things up for success on that round. It was just after that, they started to fall apart a little bit, but he did a lot of work with the Skeleton Key, his grenades, and had he won the fight against Alive, I think that would have been a big, big difference in the round. I think they would have had that round much, much sooner had he won that gunfight. But they're going to try customs again. So, this should be interesting. Can they win it twice? I mean, they can play lockers, they can play vents, and they're refusing to play vents. They have not played it whatsoever, and this is their fourth defensive round. So, we'll see what they can do because it's match and map point. And this is to try and stay out of being relegated. Supremacy in a much, much worse situation than Millenium really need this. Even a tie at this point would be better than nothing, but probably not nearly enough to save them.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's a bit of a complicated position to put yourself in, because even a tie is not great for Supremacy.
Unfortunately, at this point, they might just be practicing for future Challenger League matches.
10 seconds remaining.
As much as I hate to say that. I mean, I see some definite potential in this team, and I've seen some really good rounds for them. But overall, they just aren't necessarily always piecing it together, and a lot of the gunfights are going a little bit askew. Plenty of utility coming in here. Aces is going to be bringing Twitch again for the potential utility from that. Again, against Customs, it's not the most important, but because they don't bring the Mira on this, which is funny because Mira was a linchpin of Customs defenses previously when people were trying it originally, but people have since decided, well, we're going to learn how to adapt without that. And to be fair, they did win that last time, so. Renshiro with a nice spot there. Unfortunately, cannot turn it into a kill right now, but does know Break Room is occupied by K6. Who, Rise taking down Alive, who was trying to hide in jail, is now taken down again. This peek from Renshiro. He just doesn't have the angle, but he has the intel. Going to try and use some stuns first to try and peek a little bit more aggressively. But Rise with a second kill into Anthrax.
There's not much that Supremacy are able to do here, and they have the spot on K6, as you mentioned, on the Bandit inside. So they can just peek into the break room and deal with him, or they can just hold the angle, because there's nowhere else that he can go. If he doesn't sacrifice actual utility, well, you know what? They can just bounce the grenade over him, and boom, goes the Weasel.
3K for Rise so far, single-handedly dismantling Supremacy.
Tactus will have to push up, and he's running FMG Tyne here as Aces just gets the... What are you doing? Aces gets the last one. Dejus with a finisher, and Millenium just wiped Supremacy in the last 2 rounds. That last one was just...
Every member of Supremacy seemingly caught with their pants down time and time again. Well done by Millenium. Good droning and intel work, as well as capitalizing on that information. I mean, it took him a while to take out that Bandit, for example, but absolutely did so. Rise, I think, is my MVP of that match. I feel like there was a lot of good work from done. Didn't always work out. The rest of the team also is contributing as well. But overall, good match for Millenium, and unfortunately for Supremacy, that continues to dig the hole they're in that much deeper.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate, because Vitality might have lost their game, but had we had the tie from Supremacy, it would have pushed them a bit higher up in the standing.
Well, what we might see here, unfortunately, is if they get pushed down to Challenger League, we could see them potentially, some of the players get poached. We could see, for example, if a lot of people are seeing potential in Alive, he could get poached over to another team. Unfortunately, that is the tendency to happen when a team gets pushed down in Challenger League. They tend to escalate the few players that are the real highlight standout ones, and the rest kind of unfortunately tend to wither down there. Unfortunately, but fortunately, at least for a team like ENCE, they are not quitting, and they have managed to stick it and could potentially be right back. So there are some potential success stories.
Yeah, there's quite a bit to talk about here for Challenger League leading into Pro League, because we are only a couple weeks away, so 13 and 14. 14 being the last play day, because I saw the question on Reddit. Yeah, there's 14 play days, 7 before the Paris Major, 7 after.
And then relegations.
Yeah, 2 more weeks, then we have a week off, then we're going for relegations, and that is the most important part, especially for Europe. I want to say this, like, for every region, but especially for Europe, because there's so many ex-Pro League players and ex-Pro League teams that are trying to fight their way through Challenger League to make it back into PL. It's a tough world out there.
Keep in mind there will be half as many matches as normal for relegations, because there's the auto relegation, so the 8th place will drop out in exchange for the 1st place team from Challenger League, and then the 7th and the 2nd will fight each other in those relegations. So each region will have 1 relegations match.
Yeah, that will be the final, even though they have like a certain different type of bracket. We'll go through there later on. I highly recommend that you go.
Yeah, we're just setting up the anticipation, right?
Yeah, because we're only a couple of weeks away, and you know the highlight is Rio, but there's also relegations before it. And when we can't mention Europe without mentioning Challenger League and how important it is.
Yeah, especially for Europe. That is usually the most interesting Challenger League, not to disparage North America, but usually the most contentious region for Challenger League teams.
Yeah, so highly recommend that you keep up with everything either on the ESL website and Team Liquid, on Reddit. So there's quite a few places for you to go.
If you can't find it, then maybe Google's broken for you?
Yeah, because there's literally a ton of information of that. Watch the matches, etc. There's quite a few things to be set up. But we just saw the victory from Millenium on a border against Supremacy. We'll have a talk with their coach, though. Capel is joining us.
Hello.
Bonsoir, Monsieur Laurent. How are you?
Hello. Hello. Good night. Oh, good evening, actually. How are you guys doing?
We're pretty darn good. How are you? That was a pretty good victory here against Supremacy. Millenium so far in a correct position, but not as high up as you would like to. Of course, a few things I want to highlight here, Capel, just to ask you about them. In round 4, there was the defense set up with the Mira of Renshiro on CCTV to look into Fountain and having another mirror window from the armory wall to hold the outside balcony. Were you expecting Alive to just peek out and get a couple kills there and basically shut down the whole defense?
Well, we do expect him to do those kind of moves because that's what he does. He's a very skilled player and he tends to do a lot of high risk, high reward peaks. So kind of yes and kind of no, because we never know what he's going to do exactly.
All right, well, there was the Mira setup on Bathroom Tellers as well in round 3. I'm focusing on Mira because for once in Europe it's not banned. So there's kind of a couple things to talk about here. Was, first of all, having Mira slip through the operator bans a big boon for you guys? And 2, on round 3, when you guys were defending Bathroom Tellers, what was the mindset to use her for that defense to delay things versus Supremacy?
Well, we're very, very comfortable with Mira, so it's clearly not an operator we want to ban every time. We might ban it against certain teams, but usually we prefer to ban operators that impact us in a bad way instead of being like a bad ban for us as for them. Yeah. So that's why like Mira was open today, mostly because Supremacy didn't ban it. Then for the bathroom, just like, I don't know, just normal mindset. Like we're just focusing on giving the information, trying to coordinate with each other, to peek together and play together the defense, because it's a very tough setup to play, as it's a total one and it's very, very fragile from a few operators. I was kind of surprised they didn't run a Maverick once, because Maverick is very good on border, especially for the triple wall. So I was very surprised, since it counters a lot of defense. So that was surprising for me, but for the mindset, it's just like normal mindset, nothing special.
Okay, just going through your standard playbook, I guess.
Yep.
Round 8, that's the round where you slipped away. It was a 4v2. I assume that you were sitting in comms with your team, just listening to them in that moment. It's a 4v2. You have the Thermite plus Ace is still alive on the Twitch. What's going on between your teammates here to make sure that they can somehow try to find the clutch at the end of the round?
So, well, we have obviously drones that were placed in different parts of the maps. So the 3 dead guys were just giving out informations, and Higgs and Aces were just playing together the different peaks. It was mostly like, okay, so there's one guy there, one guy there, one guy there. Let's pick that guy because he's the most fragile. Then when he's dead, he's like, okay, there's one there, one there, one there, so let's pick that one. Then going on forwards, just like picking the most fragile and the most isolated player from the defense, trying to get 2v1s each time instead of getting like 2v2, 2v3 in terms of gunfights. And obviously it worked this time. So yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah, this is one of the times where I wish we had, play recordings or replays for the game so we can go through and see exactly where those drones were set up, because it was very surprising for us to see the Twitch just move up, get the kill on the Jaeger, and then rush up to the Mira as there's like 2 seconds left in the round. It was definitely a pretty impressive bit of play. But again, congratulations on your win. So 6-3 against Supremacy. Anything you'd like to add before we finish things off here?
Well, nothing much. For the fans, thanks again for the support. It really matters a lot to us. Then I hope we're still going to make it to Rio. We're not completely out. It's not in our hands anymore, but if we win everything, we still stand a chance, and I hope we'll make it to South America.
All right, well, we'll see how that works out in the next couple of play days here for Europe. Thank you very much, Capel, and congratulations
again. Thank you, good night.
Well, a fair bit of insight from him there, both in how they are willing to play Mira and not ban it situation. So the other teams that are considering that also may take advantage of that opportunity to ban something else if they feel confident taking it. But also the way he was talking about Maverick as well, something for other teams to take note of that weren't thinking about it that way. So it's nice to hear sometimes from the mindset of the coach.
All right, we'll take a look at the standings to recap the entire day here. As G2 are sitting pretty with 32 points, gaining 1 at the end of the day with their tie. Mocket with 21, right above Team Secret with a 4-round differential. However, Secret and Mocket do play against one another next week. Currently, Team Secret leading with 2 extra rounds in their head-to-head from the first half of this season. Millenium at 19 points, Pentasports at 15. Millenium can still make it up. That second place spot is very much being contested. Then Chaos and Vitality with Supremacy all the way down. Unfortunately here for Vitality, it's Chaos that end up getting the win. A beautiful game with Clash. Highly recommend you guys rewatch it if you want any sort of tips and information.
You can watch their older matches for Monty as well.
Yeah. Hey, they're good with shields. Who would have thought? But before we end here, I'd like to remind everybody that this weekend is APAC Finals. So live from Tokyo are some of the best teams in APAC region that are playing for 2 spots in Rio.
And I would say this is one of the times where it's really up for grabs. There's a lot of good teams that have developed over these multiple times we've had APAC out, and I think the regions...
Sengoku, Norengu, Airwolf, you've got Fnatic, you've got Mantis.
It's not Fnatic dominated like it was before. There's a lot of possibilities, so make sure to tune into that because I think it will be really interesting. It has definitely stepped up its game, the whole set of regions. I don't want to say the whole region because there's 4 sub-regions, but all 4 of them definitely have top contenders.
Remind you that that starts in around 28 hours. So
set your clock.
Yeah, set your clock, and we'll synchronize them to go through. I guess that's everything for us for tonight. We'll see you next week for North America and beyond that, as of course week 13 and 14 close in before we head to relegations and before we go to Rio. It's getting so exciting. Make sure that if you can go to Rio, you grab a ticket and go because it's gonna be insane.
Just make sure to see if you need a visa or not.
Yes, and I definitely probably need one. Who would have thought? Anyways. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. From myself, Emzo, of course, our counterparts, Intero and Kickstarter with the whole production. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Good night. We love you.